Tuning into the field of abundance. Abundance isn't a prize for a lucky few, nor a privilege reserved for the chosen. It's a vibrational state, an open frequency that anyone can attune to once they learn the silent language of the universe. Everything that exists vibrates, pulses, and radiates energy. When you align yourself with the rhythm of prosperity, life begins to rearrange itself around you, much like a river naturally finding its course toward the sea. Within that invisible current lies the true essence of wealth, not the chase for material gain, but the conscious participation in the energetic dance of creation. Before we go any further, let me extend a small yet powerful invitation. When you like this video and subscribe to the channel, something subtle but significant happens. You're not just supporting this message, you're entering resonance with a field of quantum expansion. In metaphysical terms, every coherent action amplifies your frequency of intention. Each simple click is an energetic declaration that says, I'm ready to grow. That act alone sets energy in motion, calling back from the universe a matching response to your purpose. The vibration of wealth begins in awareness, long before it takes form in the physical world. Quantum physics teaches that the observer affects the observed reality. In simple terms, how you look at life determines how it unfolds. When you focus through the lens of scarcity, you collapse realities of limitation. But when your perception rests on abundance, the quantum field reorganizes to reflect that harmony. It's like tuning a radio. The station was always broadcasting. You just needed to adjust your dial to hear it clearly. Most people try to change their reality through action, forgetting that action is an effect, not a cause. The cause lives in the invisible, in vibration, emotion, and intention. When your inner frequency is out of tune, even the best effort feels like rowing upstream. But when thought, emotion, and energy move in coherence, you're carried by the current itself. This is the principle of quantum harmony. Life flows with ease when your vibration matches your vision. Picture abundance as a cosmic symphony. Every thought is a note, every emotion a tone that contributes to the melody of your experience. When your mind and heart play in discord, life sounds like noise, scattered, incomplete. But when they align in harmony, the universe becomes the conductor, guiding your reality into rhythm. Wealth then stops being a distant pursuit and becomes the natural echo of your internal music. And in practice, tuning into the field of abundance begins with one simple but transformative act: observation without judgment. Notice the moments when your thoughts whisper lack, when your emotions echo fear. Each time you catch yourself thinking, I can't, I don't have, or I'm not enough, pause, breathe, and replace it with, I'm open to receive. That shift in language is a shift in frequency, and when your frequency changes, the field listens, silently but always faithfully. Consciousness as the gateway to the field of abundance. Everything you experience is a mirror of your state of consciousness. Before anything becomes tangible, it first exists as a living vibration, a possibility suspended within the quantum field. Modern physics already reminds us that particles behave differently when observed. That simple discovery reveals something profound. Consciousness is not a bystander. It's a creative force that shapes what we call reality. Abundance, then, isn't something to chase, it's something to allow. It emerges the moment your awareness expands enough to make space for it. Metaphysics calls this principle correspondence, as within, so without. If your inner world is governed by the belief that life is scarce or unfair, the quantum field faithfully mirrors that narrative back to you. But when you begin to sense quietly and sincerely, wait and say that you are part of a vast and benevolent intelligence, probabilities start to realign themselves. It's as if the entire universe leans gently in your direction and says, so this is what you choose to experience. The field does not judge. It simply reflects the tone of the observer's inner state. Many people still equate wealth with accumulation, but true abundance is not a matter of possessions, it's a frequency of wholeness. You can have little and yet feel rich in spirit, and soon the outer world rearranges itself to echo that inner fullness. This is the principle of vibrational coherence. When emotion and intention synchronize, they generate a natural vortex of attraction. The universe doesn't respond to the words you speak, it responds to the frequency of your feeling. Think of someone who wants financial success but secretly lives in fear of loss. Even as they affirm, I want abundance, their energy whispers, I'm afraid of running out. The quantum field, neutral and obedient, answers only to vibration, not language. As a result, money comes and goes in equal measure because the emotional current sustaining it is unstable. To reverse this pattern, one must first feel safe before proof appears. Faith, in its purest form, is vibrational confidence, a calm certainty that precedes evidence. In my own life, I learned that wealth is not achieved through urgency, but through presence. There was a time when I looked to visible results to feel secure. Only later did I realize that genuine security isn't a number in a bank account, it's an inner frequency of trust. When I shifted my relationship with the unseen, life began to flow differently. Opportunities no longer felt forced, they arrived as natural extensions of my internal stability. And the second step then is to cultivate a witnessing consciousness. When you can observe your thoughts without being consumed by them, you create a neutral space, a kind of inner stillness where new realities can unfold. This is the true gateway to the quantum field of abundance. Inside that space, you stop fighting to achieve and begin aligning to receive. Life ceases to feel like a series of battles and becomes a symphony of cooperation between your vibration and the intelligence that sustains the universe itself. The vibrational language of wealth. Everything in the universe speaks a silent language, the language of vibration. Wealth, like health, love, or peace, is not a single event. It's a distinct frequency of being. When you vibrate in gratitude, trust, and joy, you send out a signal that the quantum field recognizes instantly. This communication requires no words and no strain. It's carried through the harmony between what you think, what you feel, and what you truly believe. Abundance doesn't respond to urgency, it responds to resonance. It flows wherever vibrational coherence exists. Quantum physics gives us a mirror to understand this mystery. Subatomic particles don't occupy fixed positions on our they move in a dance of probabilities until consciousness observes them. In the same way, life's opportunities exist as invisible potentials, waiting for your focused awareness to bring them into form. How you look at money, success, or self-worth shapes how they manifest. The observer is not a mere witness. The observer is the sculptor, molding possibility into reality. Metaphysics expands this truth. Words may spark creation, but only vibration sustains it. You can repeat affirmations of prosperity every morning, yet if your heart is tuned to lack, the words dissolve into silence. The vibrational language is honest. It translates emotion, not pretense. It's not what you say that the universe hears, but what your energy broadcasts beneath the words. True transformation begins the moment your thoughts and emotions begin to speak the same dialect, when belief, feeling, and intention form a single unified tone. Try a simple exercise to strengthen this inner dialogue. Take one moment in your day to give thanks for something that hasn't yet happened. Close your eyes and feel as though it already has. Your brain cannot tell the difference between memory and imagination. Both activate the same neural pathways. The field responds not to time, but to frequency. When your feeling precedes the fact, the invisible begins to reorganize itself to match your chosen vibration. That is how energy becomes matter, not through force, but through emotional alignment. I remember a period in my life when I doubted all of this. It sounded too poetic, too idealistic, until I noticed the precision with which my fears manifested. Every worry I repeated became an echo in my experience. When I shifted the emotional tone through which I met challenges, the challenges didn't disappear, but their weight changed. Solutions appeared more easily, people responded differently, and opportunities expanded. That was when I realized life doesn't transform when you resist it. It transforms when you change the vibration through which you perceive it. The vibrational language of wealth is simple, but it asks for consistency. It's present in how you speak to yourself, in the energy with which you pay a bill, and in the emotion you feel when you imagine your future. Every gesture is a transmission, a frequency sent into the field, and the field, without judgment or bias, mirrors it back with perfect accuracy. If the message is gratitude, the echo is expansion. If the message is fear, the echo is limitation. To master this language is to remember that you are both the transmitter and the receiver, the broadcast and the echo of your own vibration. The quantum collapse of prosperity. In quantum mechanics, the collapse of the wave function marks the exact moment when potential becomes form, when possibility crystallizes into observable reality. Before that instant, everything exists as probability, suspended between infinite outcomes. The same principle operates in human life. Abundance exists in a latent state, like an intricate web of infinite possibilities, until consciousness observes it with intention, emotion, and faith. Each time you choose to believe that prosperity is natural, a fragment of that invisible field solidifies into tangible experience. The most common mistake is trying to force manifestation. Impatience is the enemy of coherent collapse because it carries the vibration of doubt. When you desire something but simultaneously fear not receiving it, you emit two conflicting frequencies that cancel each other out. The result is energetic interference, a field that cannot stabilize into form. Quantum physics reminds us chaotic systems collapse into disorder. Serenity, therefore, is not passivity, it's precision. It is the vibrational stillness that allows the field to organize harmoniously around your faith. Metaphysics calls this phenomenon faith in motion. It is not blind belief, but an embodied confidence, vibrational knowing that the universe responds to your dominant frequency. The quantum collapse, then, is the sacred instant when faith meets form. And this is where many stumble. They want to see before believing. While the field operates by a higher law, believe so that you may see. Abundance is always a mirror of the certainty you hold in the unseen. The universe does not respond to what you wish for. It responds to the consistency of your inner conviction. Imagine an artist standing before a blank canvas. The image doesn't appear on its own. It begins as vision. With every brush stroke, the artist moves with trust, knowing the masterpiece already exists within. Prosperity works the same way. The conscious mind sketches the outlines, but it's the heart that gives the work its color. When thought and emotion vibrate in harmony, reality collapses toward coherence. The field ever faithful reveals what your inner vision has already painted in the invisible. In my own life, I noticed that the moments of greatest financial expansion arrived not through effort, but through peace. Ironically, when I stopped trying to control the outcome and simply rested in gratitude, things began to align effortlessly. Projects unfolded, opportunities arrived, and the right people appeared at the right time. It felt as if the universe had been waiting for permission to act. That experience taught me that prosperity doesn't manifest when you chase it. It manifests when you rest in the silent certainty that it's already yours. And the quantum collapse at its essence is an act of conscious surrender. It's the point where you stop attempting to manipulate probabilities and start collaborating with the field. This requires what I call energetic humility, the awareness that universal intelligence always knows the shortest path between your desire and its fulfillment. When you release control, you don't lose power. You expand it, because in that release, you create space for the universe to reorganize itself in your favor, turning potential into presence and vision into form. The matrix of abundance, the field that sustains everything. Everything that exists is upheld by an invisible matrix, a unified field of energy where all possibilities rest in potential. Quantum physics calls it the zero-point field, the vibrational fabric of existence itself. Within this field, every thought, emotion, and intention sends ripples across the ocean of reality, shaping what we later perceive as the physical world. Abundance, therefore, doesn't arrive from an external source. It's the sensory translation of your inner harmony with this matrix. What you call life is, in truth, the field reflecting your current state of vibration. In metaphysics, this same matrix is known as the principle of the all. Everything, seen or unseen, emerges from this ocean of pure consciousness. Picture it as an infinite sea of intelligent energy that responds faithfully to the frequencies emitted by every living being. When your mind vibrates in trust, the field reconfigures itself to sustain that pattern. When it vibrates in lack, it echoes scarcity with equal precision. The matrix does not distinguish between worthy or unworthy, and it simply mirrors frequency. Its neutrality is not indifference. It is the highest form of cosmic justice. Imagine your mind as a transmitter and the field as a universal receiver. The clearer the signal, the purer the reflection. Confused thoughts produce static. Conflicting emotions distort the transmission. That's why vibrational clarity is such a powerful force. It instructs the field on exactly what to mirror. When you broadcast a stable signal of gratitude, confidence, and purpose, the matrix rearranges pathways, aligning people, ideas, and opportunities to match that new energetic frequency. Life begins to feel guided rather than forced, a precise orchestration of coherence in motion. From my own experience, I discovered that the seasons of effortless prosperity always coincided with moments when I felt aligned with purpose, not when I was chasing results. Whenever I focused on serving, creating, and sharing genuine value, the field responded with unmistakable accuracy. That realization taught me that the matrix of abundance does not reward hollow ambition. It amplifies authentic resonance. It multiplies what is born from the vibration of contribution, coherence, and expansion, never from fear or competition. In practice, aligning with the matrix of abundance begins with awareness, noticing what you are feeding into the field energetically. Ask yourself, what is this thought planting in the field right now? Every concern, every gesture, every emotion acts as a vibrational command. If you desire more prosperity, emit more trust. If you seek flow, radiate surrender. The field responds immediately to coherence, often long before physical evidence appears. The invisible always precedes the visible. That is the law of energetic correspondence. The ultimate secret, then, is not learning how to create wealth, but remembering that you are already part of the source that sustains it. When you recognize yourself as an extension of the quantum matrix, the illusion of separation between the seeker and the result dissolves. Desire stops being a plea and becomes a natural expression of your being. At that level, abundance is not something you pursue. It is your native state, the natural rhythm of a consciousness that knows itself as one with the field that creates, sustains, and renews all things. Emotion as a creative frequency. And emotion is the force that translates the invisible into form. Thought gives direction, but emotion gives momentum. In quantum language, emotion is the vibration that instructs the field which version of reality to collapse into matter. Physics already shows us that subatomic particles respond to subtle energetic patterns, and so does human experience. Whenever you feel with genuine intensity, you emit coherent waves that reshape the space around you, summoning events and encounters that harmonize with your dominant emotional state. Metaphysics describes emotion as the breath that animates creation. A thought alone is a spark, but when infused with emotion, it becomes a living flame. This is why repeating positive statements without feeling yields little change. The field responds not to words, but to vibration. When you declare I am prosperous while secretly doubting it, the universe registers the doubt. But when you say it with sincere gratitude, the field recognizes the signal and mirrors it back in harmonic resonance. The emotion behind the thought is the true command. Emotions act like energetic antennas. Joy expands the field. Trust stabilizes it. Fear compresses it. None of these emotions are inherently good or bad. They are indicators of resonance. The key lies in learning to read these fluctuations and recalibrate consciously. If life keeps reflecting scarcity, ask yourself, what emotion am I unknowingly repeating? Once you shift the internal vibrational code, the outer world must reorganize accordingly. That is the vibrational mathematics of reality, precise, neutral, and infallible. Think back to a moment of pure, unforced gratitude, perhaps while watching a sunset or receiving an unexpected act of kindness. In that instant, everything feels clearer, lighter, almost timeless. That state is a glimpse of creative frequency in motion. If you can hold that vibration, even for a few seconds throughout your day, you're teaching your heart and mind to communicate in quantum language. The field listens not to effort, In my own journey, I found that the most expansive periods of my life were those when I allowed myself to feel before trying to understand. I used to intellectualize everything, to plan, predict, control, until I discovered that the universe does not negotiate with logic. It responds to vibration. When I began prioritizing trust, even without proof, unseen doors began to open. The opportunities weren't created, they were revealed. That's when I realized emotion is the code that unlocks the field. To practice this truth, choose an emotion that represents the life you wish to experience. Perhaps serenity, gratitude, or safety. And invite it consciously each day, even without reason. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine yourself already living the outcome you desire. With each breath, become that version of yourself. The brain begins to rewire. The heart emits new electromagnetic frequencies, and the field aligns itself accordingly. This is how the unseen organizes around sustained emotion, turning vibration into form and feeling into fate. The magnetism of gratitude and the return of energy. So gratitude is the most refined magnetic force a human being can emit. In the quantum field, it acts as an energetic signature that declares, I have already received. When you vibrate gratitude, before any physical manifestation, you send a signal of completion to the universe, a message that says, I am whole. The field, ever responsive, reorganizes probabilities to match that state of fulfillment. Gratitude dissolves resistance, widens the channels of perception, and allows the abundance that already exists to flow freely toward you. Metaphysics describes gratitude as the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between potential and manifestation. It's more than an elevated emotion. It's a spiritual technology of expansion. When you express gratitude consciously, you generate coherence between mind and heart. Two frequencies vibrating in perfect harmony. The quantum field perceives this harmony as order, and order always attracts more of itself. Gratitude, therefore, is not merely a reaction to what you've received. It's a creative act, a vibrational decree of completeness. That quantum physics shows that systems resonate when their frequencies align. Gratitude operates in the same way. It tunes you into people, events, and circumstances vibrating within that same spectrum of abundance. This is why, after even a brief moment of sincere appreciation, life often begins to rearrange itself. Unexpected messages, meaningful encounters, small synchronicities that feel like divine timing. The universe is a vast network of vibrational feedback, and gratitude is the most direct access code to that living system. Here's a simple yet transformative practice. Upon waking, before reaching for your phone or engaging the world, pause and breathe. Name 3 things you're grateful for, not the obvious, but the subtle. The clean water waiting for you, the lungs that breathe without command, the mind that still seeks meaning. Then close your eyes and affirm silently, I am grateful for everything that is already on its way. This shifts the baseline of your emotional field, programming your nervous system to operate in receptivity and trust throughout the day. I've personally witnessed extraordinary changes from this habit. In uncertain times, instead of rushing to solve problems, I began to thank life in advance for the answers. And almost mysteriously, they always arrived, sometimes as insight, sometimes through people, sometimes as small coincidences that turned out to be pivotal. That experience taught me that gratitude doesn't just change what you see, it changes the way the field sees you. It raises your frequency, turning you into a natural point of attraction for prosperous experiences. Gratitude is also the sacred return of energy to its source. Every thought, gesture, and act of kindness is a vibrational emission that inevitably circles back to its origin, multiplied. When you give thanks, you close the energetic loop of creation, reaffirming your harmony with the whole. It's as if you whisper to the universe, I am aligned with all that is. And the universe, recognizing the coherence of that signal, responds with expansion. This is the sacred mathematics of abundance. The more you acknowledge, the more the field delivers. The unblocking of scarcity, transmuting frequencies of lack. Scarcity is not an external reality. It is a vibrational pattern crystallized within consciousness. It is born from the illusion of separation, the belief that there is not enough for everyone, or that the universe distributes its blessings sparingly. In the quantum field, that belief functions as an energetic lock that restricts the natural current of abundance. When you vibrate in fear of loss, the field mirrors that signal with more situations that affirm loss. To transmute scarcity, therefore, is not to change your circumstances, it is to change your frequency. Metaphysics teaches that every limitation is simply dense energy awaiting transformation. The vibration of lack does not need to be fought. It needs to be understood. It exists to reveal where you have not yet recognized your own creative power. The moment you bring awareness to that vibration, it dissolves like fog under the morning sun. The light of perception neutralizes fear, and in that precise moment, abundance, which was never absent, begins to move again in your direction, drawn by the coherence of your newfound clarity. Quantum mechanics offers a compelling parallel. Particles trapped in low energy fields remain inert until stimulated by a higher vibration. The same is true for human consciousness. Emotions like guilt, comparison, and fear of scarcity hold creative energy captive at low frequencies. But when you elevate your emotional state through acceptance, forgiveness, or trust, that energy is released. The field then restores its natural flow, allowing prosperity to reappear, not as a miracle, but as a consequence of vibrational realignment. A powerful practice for transmuting scarcity is the conscious recognition of abundance already present. For an entire day, observe everything that supports your life: the food within reach, the kindness of a stranger, the ideas that arise uninvited, the opportunities quietly forming around you. Each recognition is a recalibration. The more you notice what is, the less power you grant to what seems to be missing. A mind trained to perceive abundance becomes a conduit for its continuous expression. Seeing abundance is in itself an act of creation. I've lived through seasons where financial fear dominated my thoughts. The more I fought against it, the more it echoed. Only when I shifted my attention toward what I already had, even if it was as simple as my breath or the time to begin again, did the vibration start to transform. Slowly, doors reopened, resources surfaced, and opportunities aligned. I realized then that abundance had never left. I had simply stopped looking at it. The field had always been responsive. I had only been broadcasting interference. The transmute scarcity is at its core to remember that you are the source itself. The fear of lack dissolves the moment you recognize there's no separation between the observer and the field. Everything you could ever need already exists in potential form, waiting for resonance. The question is never, how do I get it, but how do I tune to it? The answer is always the same. Shift from the vibration of lack to the vibration of trust. In that instant, resistance fades, and the quantum field, once dormant, becomes your collaborator in creation. Prosperity is the natural state of consciousness. Prosperity is not a destination to reach. It's a state of consciousness to remember. From the moment of your birth, you have been part of the infinite flow of creation. The same flow that moves the stars, the tides, and the seeds beneath the soil. Nothing in nature forces abundance. The river doesn't push its waters. The tree doesn't compete for sunlight, and the sun never begs to shine. Each follows a silent principle of trust in the field. When you align yourself with that same principle, prosperity ceases to be a pursuit and becomes as natural as your breath. Metaphysics describes prosperity as the expression of balance between giving and receiving. When you live in harmony without resistance to life, the flow remains continuous. The challenge is that many have been conditioned to hold on, to cling to emotions, ideas, love, and even money out of fear that there won't be enough. But holding is interruption. It halts circulation. To prosper is to allow yourself to be a channel, not a container. The more freely energy moves through you, the more it replenishes and multiplies itself. Quantum physics echoes this principle through the dance of equilibrium. Every balanced system is engaged in constant energy exchange. Even the so-called vacuum is not empty. It's a sea of virtual particles appearing and disappearing in an eternal rhythm of creation. The universe thrives through circulation. When you open yourself to give your time, your creativity, your presence, you join that same cosmic choreography of reciprocity. What you send out doesn't vanish, it returns magnified, for the field recognizes coherence between what is emitted and what is received. Consider a simple example. When you decide to help someone without expectation of return, something subtle shifts within you. That expansion of emotion elevates your frequency, and the field immediately begins reorganizing opportunities around that vibration. This is the law of vibrational reciprocity. In generating prosperity for another, you become a conductor of universal flow. And the flow always honors its conduits. The universe responds in proportion to the vibration you give away, not the one you withhold. In my own life, I discovered that prospering requires courage, the courage to trust. There were times when I hesitated to invest, to give, to share knowledge, believing I had to save for later. Yet it was precisely when I began to circulate what I had, ideas, time, generosity, that the flow multiplied. Prosperity is not about accumulation, it's about circulation. It is movement, and movement is life. Fear contracts, trust expands. Each time you choose trust, you allow energy to breathe through you again. To recognize prosperity as your natural state is to return to your essence. It is not a victory earned through striving, but a remembrance of who you already are. When you stand in that awareness, every gesture, every thought, and every breath becomes an expression of abundance. At that level, the universe stops being something external and reveals itself as an extension of your own consciousness. To prosper, then, is simply to live in harmony with what the field already is: infinite, generous, and complete. The synthesis, the vibration of wealth, and the return to the whole. At the Sunnect, we have arrived at the point where all threads converge. Wealth is not a prize to be earned, but the natural expression of alignment between your being and the field. When you realize that nothing exists outside of you, that every experience is simply the reflection of the vibration you sustain, the universe ceases to be a puzzle to solve and becomes a mirror of consciousness itself. True abundance is not a possession. It's the stillness that precedes all manifestation, the quiet trust that whispers, everything is already here. Metaphysics teaches that all creation is consciousness returning to itself. Gold, home, love, opportunity, these are only tangible reflections of an invisible state of awareness. When you vibrate in wholeness, the field expands to match that coherence. When you vibrate in lack, it contracts to confirm your doubt. Nothing is punishment, everything is reflection, and the mirror never judges. It simply reveals the dominant frequency you hold. Thus, wealth becomes a form of self-revelation, not accumulation, a journey inward rather than a race outward. Quantum physics reminds us that every particle in the universe is intricately connected, even when separated by vast distances. This subtle connection, quantum entanglement, mirrors the essence of spiritual abundance. What vibrates in one point of the field reverberates through the entire system. When you elevate your vibration, the world adjusts in response. The simple act of thinking with love, acting with integrity, and feeling with gratitude alters the invisible web of existence. Your internal coherence reshapes the external landscape. In my own path, I discovered that prosperity blooms when desire transforms into purpose. When I stopped seeking wealth to have and began creating to be, the field responded instantly. Work became joy, time expanded, and opportunities arrived with effortless grace. That was when I understood the vibration of wealth is the frequency of surrender, the willingness to collaborate with the whole, trusting that the whole always reciprocates. Abundance is not chased, it's received through participation in the universal rhythm of giving and being. The daily practice is simple but powerful. Wake each morning in gratitude. Align your breath with the certainty that the universe conspires for your expansion. See each challenge not as opposition, but as an invitation to tune your frequency. When fear arises, remember, it's simply the field asking you to choose again. Choose trust, choose harmony, choose love. For love is the vibration that gives lasting shape to abundance. Every conscious choice to return to love refines the signal you send into creation. And so, as this journey comes to a close, remember, the vibration of wealth is not a secret to uncover, but a presence to embody. You don't need to conquer the field, you are the field. Everything you've been seeking has always been resonating within you, waiting for recognition. When this truth becomes real in your heart, life is no longer a pursuit. It becomes a celebration. And in that silent realization, the entire universe bows in resonance with your coherence and whispers back, "Welcome home to the whole."
And so, see you in the next video, with more information on everything that involves growing, evolving, transforming, and manifesting. See you soon.